Good evening and thanks for watching Breaking the News tonight. So tomorrow marks 70 years since Brown versus the Board of Education, the landmark Supreme Court decision that ruled there was no such thing as separate but equal in our nation's public schools. Racial segregation was in fact unconstitutional. And all the years that have followed, the Little Rock Nine and Ruby Bridges were the first to make history as the first people to put that ruling into action, giving huge momentum to the civil rights movement in the USA. But new data shows our schools are sadly resegregating. What you're looking at right now is a graphic from Stanford's Educational Opportunity Project, and it breaks it down by county. The darker green they are, the more segregated the schools have become. In the last 30 years, Minneapolis and St. Paul schools have gone from mostly integrated to mostly not. That shift prompted the state Supreme Court to talk about it last year and weigh in. It also spurred renewed interest in the Brown decision from 1954. And Kent's on the show tonight to explain how a brand new project is using really new technology to bring Brown v. Board of Education to life.
Yeah, Jenna, as that pivotal case unfolded in the early 1950s, the Supreme Court didn't allow audio recording, so you literally had to be there to hear how it played out. But not anymore. A project called Brown Revisited is using artificial intelligence to help everyone learn about the case in a new way.
Brown Revisited catches your attention from the very first click.
Oh yay, oh yay, oh yay.
The interactive multimedia page lets you explore the landmark school desegregation case using AI audio that even stunned the people behind it.
I remember Monroe School, the all-black school that I attended.
We were blown away. We knew at that point that we had something where we could really, truly bring history to life.
Tim Johnson is a U of M professor and Supreme Court scholar who is also an advisor for the Oyez Project, which created Brown Revisited by having professional voice actors read the actual transcripts of the case, then using actual recordings of justices and lawyers such as Thurgood Marshall to clone their voices and then overlay the audio.
I got the feeling yesterday that when you put a white child in a school with a whole lot of colored children, the child will fall apart or something. Everybody knows that is not true. Those same kids in Virginia and South Carolina, and I've seen them do it. They play in the streets together. They play on their farms together. They go down the road together. They separate to go to school.
Universities have spent a lot of time trying to police AI for obvious reasons, but do you think that this type of technology also needs to be embraced?
100%. If you can use this technology for good, then we should use it for good. Look, we have deep fakes, whether it's a deep fake of Joe Biden or a deep fake of Donald Trump. We're trying to do real fakes. And that is, we're not trying to fake you out and make Thurgood Marshall say something he never said. We just want to put his voice to things that he actually said so you can hear him during a time in history when you quite literally couldn't hear him.
We are requested to direct our attention to the specific question.
Now that we can, Johnson says it's helping everyone better access and understand what this case means.
We know that Brown is famous. We know that it says that we were going to let little African-American children go to school with little white American children. But that's not hearing Thurgood Marshall's voice. That's not hearing John W. Davis's voice arguing in favor of segregation. That's not hearing Chief Justice Earl Warren announce the opinion that says
the doctrine of separate but equal has no place. Separate educational facilities are inherently unequal.
This historical aspect of what we are doing here, I think, is a complete game changer for teaching about the law, teaching about the Supreme Court to students across the country.
And it comes as many of those students find themselves in schools that have grown more segregated.
It is in our faces. It is here in Minnesota, and it's not just in the Twin Cities. There's some highly segregated school districts in northern Minnesota as well. It's between Native American students and the rest of the communities. And so the issues here, bringing Brown back to life is going to make us think about these cases, think about how our state Supreme Court is ruling, think about how school districts should deal with these issues.
Now, there are key differences between the segregation happening today versus the state-mandated segregation that Brown brought to an end. But last year, the Minnesota Supreme Court said that segregation could be unconstitutional even if the state didn't cause it. But proving it would require evidence, they say, from parents showing that segregation itself is a substantial factor in harming their kids' education. Jana.
Definitely something that we'll keep covering for certain. Kent, did you and Tim talk at all about if any other cases will be visited this way? I'm thinking of like any other Supreme Court cases before 1954.
Yeah, basically a bunch of cases between 1930, about when they had some recordings of the people involved, to 1955. He said there are several that they're already looking at, and they're going to try to expand this because, again, it just opens this up in new ways. And we've got a link, of course, to this project on our website, KARE11.com.
Yeah, it's a fascinating listen. Thanks so much, Kent. Appreciate it.